All right, good morning, guys, and welcome back to 10.7. We're doing equations of circles in the plane. So again, today is the last day of 10.7. Tomorrow, we will have a quiz. So tomorrow's our quiz over 10.7, just 10.7. And just for review here, the standard form of that circle equation is x minus h, it's horizontal. X is my horizontal axis, squared, plus y minus k squared equals r squared. So in that first part here, x minus h, how does h shift the circle? Well, it shifts it horizontally. Left or right. And opposite direction of the sign you see. So if you remember yesterday on Desmos, for example, we saw x minus 3. You'd think, minus 3, you'd think it would be over here. But this actually shifted it right 3. And similarly, y plus 7, you'd think it would be up here, but in reality, it ends up being down here. It's always the opposite of what you see in the parentheses there. One way to remember this is it's kind of like our quadratic functions. When we solved, it was x plus 2, maybe x minus 5 for our parabola. And there's our graph, kind of from Algebra 1. We've got our roots here. The roots were always what made this 0. So the root would have been negative 2 and positive 5. So just like we would do in Algebra 1 with our parabolas, we're going to do the same thing with how we shift our circle. And in that second part, y minus k squared, k shifts it vertically, up, down, and still the opposite sign. And r, again, is that radius. So r is just the radius. And if you're looking at a regular equation, you've got to be careful about this is r squared. So 324 here would be r squared. So r would be 18. All right, now let's look at 1 and 2. So always thinking about the opposite signs. X plus 5, x direction is left, right. So plus 5 would mean left 5. Plus 20 here would mean y is vertical, up or down. Positive 20 would get me down 5. So y plus 20 would be down 5. And what would my coordinates be if I shifted left 5? My bad there, that should be down 20. Left 5 and down 20. Well, that would be negative 5 and negative 20. Or you can notice that these numbers tell me the center of the circle, but they're opposite signs in the equation. All right, same thing here. Well, this is just x, so there's no horizontal shift. That's like x plus 0 squared. Vertical shift, it's minus 8, so that must be up 8. So then what's my center? Well, again, we're going to look at these two numbers, and we're going to take the opposite signs. So 0, opposite of 0 is 0. Opposite of negative 8 is positive 8. All right. And we'll do number 3 together, 3 and 5, and then I'll fill out 4 and 6 and post that on the classroom page as completed notes. So 3, we've got x squared plus y squared equals r squared. And what we're going to do here is we're going to fill out the rest of this. So if the center's 11, negative 4, well, remember, we're taking the opposite signs of these numbers. So this is x, that's y. So x minus 11, y plus 4. And for right now, I'm just going to leave that as 22 squared. You could simplify it. You could figure out what 22 squared is, but it's not strictly necessary. So I'm not going to make you do that right now. All right, so I'd like you guys to pause the video, write out your equation for number 4, and then check back in a second. So same thing, opposite signs of what you see. Negative 3 turns into positive 3. Y plus 0 equals 1 squared. And if I really wanted to simplify this, I could write this as x plus 3 squared plus y squared equals 1. So I could write it like that if I really wanted to. Either way is going to be fine. All right, and number 5 here. So we're going to identify the centers and the radius lengths. So here, let's just highlight the centers. So number 5, I've got a center of 3, negative 2. So just like you read left to right first, then up and down. So x, then y. 3, negative 2, and the radius, well, that's going to be this length. So let's see, how many boxes did I cover? So 1, 2, 3 is my radius. So my equation must be x, and then we'll take this number but change the sign, minus 3 squared plus y, take this number, change the sign, plus 2 squared equals, and this is r squared. So it won't just be 3, it'll be 3 squared, or 9. And why don't you guys pause the video again, try 6, and then we're going to talk about our final problem type for the day. So number 6, centers negative 1, negative 2, radius is 1, so this should be x plus 1 squared plus y plus 2 squared equals 1, or 1 squared. And this is our new problem type for the day. So we know our equation is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. Now, we're going to solve problems where I'm given a center and a point on the circle. So what we're going to do here is, I'm giving you the centers 4 and negative 1, and I'm giving you that the point on the circle is 8, -1. So what we're going to do is we're going to fill out our equation here with that information. So note we don't know the radius. So I'll say x minus the center, 4 squared, plus y minus -1. Again, these h and k are taken from the center, squared equals r squared. Still don't know radius. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the point on the circle and substitute that in for x and y. So I'm going to make that orange. So x was 8, y was -1. Okay. And this makes it, these two negatives turn into a positive. So all we're going to do here is simplify. So 8 minus 4 is 4 squared. -1 plus +1, or -1 plus 1, is 0, equals r squared. So 16 equals r squared, or r equals 4. And now that we know r, we can write our equation. So we're only using, let me make this pink, we're only using our point on the circle in step 1. Once you use that to solve for r, never use that again. So then we'll substitute in the center points, those coordinates, and we will substitute in the radius length that we now know, r squared, to write our new equation. So now we're going to just look at our center, which is 4, -1, and radius is 4. So again, change the signs and make sure that you've got r squared. All right, let's do one more here. So number 7, our center is 0, 0, and our point is 0, 6. Y minus k squared equals r squared. We still don't know r, but we know our h and k. So we know we have, let's just substitute those in, and I'll do that in red, 0 and 0. And we know that our point here is 0, 6. So what we're going to do there is we'll substitute the 0 for x because it's the x coordinate, and we will substitute the 6 for y because it's the y coordinate, and we can just simplify and solve. So this is 0 squared plus 6 squared equals r squared. And then we could simplify 6 squared is r squared, or r is 6. And once we've done that, we're going to focus on our center and our radius, and we'll say x minus 0 squared plus y minus 0 squared equals 6 squared. And I'd like you guys to pause the video and try these last two, but I'm still going to go through them in a second. So x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. So we're going to take these points, those coordinates there. That's my h and k. So h is 1, k is 2. And we'll substitute in for x and y from the point on the circle. So it's 4 and 2. So it's 3 squared plus 0 squared equals r squared. Or 9 is r squared, or r is 3. So once I've got center 1, 2, and r is 3, then I can say x minus 1 squared plus